Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Without further ado, I'm just going to bring on this guy, the regular guy. He's out. He's not doing well, but he'll be back at some point. But we got Tom, the pinch hitter, Hutchison.
I thought I was the regular guy.
Well, you're one of the regular, but you also like the pinch hitter guy. You know that. And when you're not walking around your leg.
Yeah. Did that earlier so I could be here on time this time.
All right, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know about out there, but it's a nice day out here. So
it was a very nice day out here.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that time's always on the regular.
There you go.
Okay. Hey, everybody, Randy Zimmerman, writer of The Atlantean, even though it's spelt wrong there. How great is that? That's what I get for not spell checking.
It's all right. Just cut and paste, Randy. Cut and paste.
Got it. There we are.
All right, cool. How you doing, Melissa?
Hello. Yes, I'm Melissa J. Massey, your fine purveyor of fantasy comics and tragic shenanigans, and I'm excited to be on the show tonight with everyone.
Yep, awesome. Grant, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm well. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Grant Lankard. I have a couple different comic book titles. I've been doing this for about 5 years now. I'm the regular writer of Beowulf, the first miniseries, and now the second one. I am the writer of League of Cryptids, and of course the horror anthology series Memoirs of the Morbid, which we're currently on our third volume.
All right, cool. What's up, Sean?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. So I am the creator of The Fog Within, issues 1 through 4 so far. Recon and the Little One is my second series going on. And now I am introducing in the Hospice Season 2, The Scaled Key, my newest little miniseries.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm sure everyone's seen the show question up there, right? So are indie comic creators talking to the void, right? I mean, do you ever get that sensation where you're out there and you're just like screaming and you're just like the ocean is just not answering back, right? So, what are your thoughts on it? Who do you think is listening, and how do you think you can be heard, right? So, all right. So last man in, first man out. Sean.
It's fair.
That's how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about the question. So, of course, on the socials, everyone's doing all the groups and doing all the tweets and the Facebook and everything. And a lot of the time, it does feel like there is a lot of void that no one's hearing you, other than other comic book creators, maybe. But I've had a lot of conversations though over the past 2.5 years that I never would have had. So it's slow and few between, I think. But they definitely still come up. And the longer that I've done this, the more conversations I have on the regular, I think. And there's guys that just buy indie books versus being creators that I've had conversations with that have been backing me since the beginning. That I met, like there's 2 or 3 guys that I was just, starting Twitter and everything. And I just kept on putting it out there, and I've been talking to them the whole time. And they're really cool, and I wouldn't have them otherwise. So it is a grind, and it is few and far between, but I think it's still worth it. The more you do it, the more guys you can see eventually.
All right, cool. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when I hate this word, but it's hard when you're struggling against the algorithm, because it's funny. I mean, it's like, I mean, Facebook is literally fighting against you to get your stuff out there, yeah, sometimes it does feel like you're shouting into the void. That's why I say, you try to convert people to newsletter subscribers as quickly as possible. Not that the newsletter thing is perfect, but I think it is still better than social media.
All right, cool. Melissa, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I've kind of the unique position of I've been in, the comic space, dealing with social media marketing, but also in the corporate space from my agency life. And I think we're at this weird point where for a long time, social media has been the game and was getting you returns on your investment. But we're moving past it in the sense of from the corporate side of, they're just kind of cannibalizing their own platforms to get the advertisement dollars out of it in any way they can. So they're not really concerned about connecting people anymore. Whereas on the user side, we're seeing people are just fatigued with social media. It's at the beginning it was so exciting. It was how many friends could you get? You just kind of kept going out and trying to find more and more people online that you could connect with. But now we're seeing kind of the opposite of that, where people want to make more genuine connections, even if they're fewer. They're looking for smaller communities. It's not really so much about, I have 500 friends, I have 1,000 friends, the Tom from MySpace. It's not really that world anymore. So when we're thinking about us as creators, it's like, all right, how do you welcome in potential readers into your space in a way where it doesn't feel like they're just one of hundreds of people, but it feels like a space they can fit into? Because I think that's just what people are looking for. They want a genuine connection to something or other people. So I think if you can purvey that, if you can put that out into the world and saying, like, I'm making this comic and it's for these kinds of people, but there's some kind of community here, there's something to keep you coming back. That's really what the key is these days to get your audience there.
Okay. Cool. Randy, what are you thinking?
Well, we're independents. We got to think outside the norm anyway. We're not looked at as mainstream. So, are we talking to a void? Probably. It's a void of our own making. We can fill that void with, like Melissa was saying, individual little small communities is probably looks to be the way it's going online, at least. But who's listening? People want to get entertained, and we're seeing more and more people like that looking for different venues of entertainment because they're tired of the ones that they've got now. The theaters are starting to crash, and the networks are crashing, and streaming is crashing, and I'm not sure what we need to do to turn people back onto comics, if that'll ever be completely successful. There almost needs to be like a comic book offense fund where they go out and try to positively promote the art form, but out to anybody who can hear us. But with the history that we have and the foundation that the art form is in itself, we should be figuring out new ways of marketing, and I think we will, and getting out there into a wider audience. How does that? Did I dodge the question good enough?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Precisely. No information. Thanks, Randy.
Excellent. You're welcome. No, I've been asking those exact same questions for the last 4 or 5 years, and man, am I open for any kind of solution.
That's why we're here, Randy. That's
Yeah.
why we're trying to find one. We're hoping these 6 brains can come together. Come up with something. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm probably going to say things that people aren't going to like. But what else is new? I love what Melissa just said, because that's the reality. And that's the thing that people really, really have to contemplate and figure out. So a couple of things. One, the algorithm thing, that's not a thing anymore. Like there's nothing that is algorithmically anti-you. There used to be a real algorithm problem, but the algorithm have shifted now, particularly because of things like TikTok, where the algorithm is now an interest-based algorithm. It will feed anything that you continually feed yourself. So in other words, if you can get somebody to be like, I want to see what Big Dog Inc.'s doing every day, and I'm going to like Tom's post every single time, those guys are going to continually get your stuff all the time. But The other side of that is what we also just said. People aren't really interested in the engagement of social media anymore, to at least where we are. Again, you go to places like TikTok and you'll see things exploding, but that's a different world. And that world is, again, sort of what Melissa was talking about, where people are more interested in the community, the small community built around something that they feel like they can come into and be a part of, and not just be sort of anonymous in this group of people. A perfect example is Brian Pulido and Coffin Comics, and the way that he's generated his own community where all those people know all of the other people because they're always engaging with his posts, with Coffin Comics posts, with each other, with the artists that work for Coffin Comics. That's the template. Okay. Now, granted, this guy's got 30 plus years on us, and he has all of that sort of back history to go with it. But the template of how to use social media and customer service and awareness of product and brand and so on, that's the template. And I've seen other people doing that. Guys like Dan Mendoza have done the same things, not to the exact same gigantic level like that, but it's absolutely there. So the answer to the question is, yeah, we're screaming into the void, but I want to really be clear here. This isn't comics. This is all creative media. Whether you make movies or TV or music or whatever, you're screaming into the void to see if anyone cares. And if no one cares, this is where it gets rough, guys. Maybe you're just not making the right thing. That's the real hard part that creatives of all kinds have to really sort of look back. If you look into the void and there's nothing there, you have to turn the mirror around and go, well, what am I not doing that the void wants to ignore me? That's the real hard part about all creative things, is sometimes you have to say, you know what, that's just not working, and I got to go do something else, whether it's a new product, whether it's a new marketing strategy, whether it's, whatever it is. If it's not working, there's a reason it's not working. You got to analyze that for yourself. So the answer, though, is you never stop really yelling into the void. It's how much, I've talked about this on the show before too, it's always ROI. It's return on investment, and that includes your energy of what you're putting it out. So, if you're doing things and you're not seeing a giant result, but you are getting a result, you can put more into it and say, oh, I'm going to yell, I'm going to yell, I'm going to yell, I'm going to yell. But that's not necessarily going to level you up. You have to find more specific ways to level you up than just, again, like we're talking about, screaming into the void. You have to now, okay, well, I've got this group of people that buys my books. I have to really hyper focus on these guys now, because let's say it's just 200 people that are there for you every single time. You need to be there for them every single time. You need to let them feel like I'm working for you, and that in turn becomes that sort of grassroots movement where these people start to talk about you on their own, whether it's on social media or whether it's like, Comic Cons or whatever. They start to talk about you and say, oh, what's that? And then you get that nice grassroots movement, which is basically the Brian Pulido method. Get people to talk about you amongst themselves versus you screaming at them, on podcasts or advertising or whatever it happens to be. So, I used to be really heavy with all of my screaming into the void. And I started to feel that energy, like there's too much energy sending this way and it's not really coming back. So I started to slow down. I started to watch other people. I'm like, okay, well, watch other people. I'm watching a lot of people doing a lot of things, and I'm not really seeing it work for them either. Like, not that they're not successful, but they're not seeing the leveling up from all of that work, which to me, I'm just like, God damn, the amount of work you guys are doing is insane. And I give you all thumbs up, but I'm watching it and I'm not seeing it level up. So for me, I started to kind of pull back and be like, I think I need to move my energy in different places than just the screaming into the void. And I think one of the key things, again, back to what Melissa said, is people are moving away from the social media, the Facebook, the whatevers, and they want a more tactile community even. That's where the Comic Cons are going to start coming back, guys. It's going to be so important to be represented at Comic Cons. You still have to pick the right ones. It's not just all Comic Cons everywhere, anytime. You still have to do your research, know where you're going, know why you're going to be there. But people are looking for more personal experiences with their life, because we've had 10, 15 years of this social media stuff. And people are now like, you know what, I'm going to go walk in the grass again instead of, doing whatever. So the Comic Cons are going to be probably the single best, most open door opportunity for anyone to grab new people and attach them to your brand. Because again, you can just sit right there and shove a comic book right in their hand. If they don't like it, well, I got another one. Whatever. Talk to them about whatever it is. Connect with them on levels that are different than even just your comic. If you're wearing a Jaws shirt, you're going to attract people that are like, oh, I love Jaws. Oh, cool. I got a shark book. You want to see my shark book? Sell them the shark book, So, you got to start to move yourself away from the notion that the algorithm is killing you. That's not really a thing anymore. If Facebook isn't working for you, there's I won't say hundreds. There's a bunch of other social media places. TikTok is probably the one that grows the most. But also remember that just because you're not getting feedback like likes or comments on your stuff on Facebook, you are getting views, right? Like my I don't know what they call it, my profile or whatever, got like 95,000 views in the last month just from what I'm getting. Now, obviously, that's not translated to 95,000 people are buying my stuff. But the point is you're getting seen even when you're screaming into the void. So people are there. People are seeing it. The trick then is, how do you get them to see it and then want it? And that comes back to your marketing and what it actually is. Is it marketable?
Mm-hmm. And to piggyback off of Tom real quick, in the views category of things, just because someone sees you on Facebook does not mean they're going to click through you on Facebook, right? They're going to have to see you maybe a couple of times other places, and then that's how you're going to get them. So if it makes sense for you to kind of be out in multiple places, that's important as well, because someone might see you on Facebook and be like, yeah, okay, but then they might see you on Substack or TikTok or whatever, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, this thing, and then they'll see you again somewhere else. I'm like, okay, yeah, and then that's when you start getting them into the fold. That was always one of the things we had the most trouble tracking, is how are people actually coming in to like our website or into our email list, because they might click somewhere, but they might have seen you somewhere else first, and there's really just no way to know.
Yeah, you got to create the breadcrumb trail that just leads to wherever they're comfortable using. And then if you're in that space that they're already, I like being here, this is my social media. Oh, there's Tom, there's Randy, there's Melissa. Like that's how you get them.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. It's funny. I asked this question because, been doing this for a minute, right? And been doing this particular thing, the podcast thing, going on other podcasts, being on other podcasts, interacting with similar groups within this circle, right? This strange amorphous circle that we're in, right? And, you're constant, the void for me was realizing that like there's a ceiling, right, that we hit as independent comic book creators, right? Because, we know who makes all the money, right? We know it's these creators that come out of Marvel and DC. They put up their campaigns for their art book or whatever comics they're doing. Some of them good, some of them bad, one of the good ones, Kelly Jones, Matt Wagner, Dracula, go check it out. But, you see those guys make 80, 90,000 or whatever, some money they're making. You see people doing certain types of covers, whether it be NSFW type of covers or whatever, they make a certain level of money. Then you see the old school IPs, or, the public domain IPs, right? Things like Cthulhu, Dracula, Oz, so on and so forth, making a certain level of money. And then you have people who come up who are independents creating their own stuff, and we hit this ceiling. all of those things hit a ceiling, but we especially hit a ceiling, right? And that for me is the void, right? Is how to get beyond that ceiling, how to get beyond that glass ceiling, right? Because we can see above it, and it kind of sucks that we can, right? But it's getting beyond that glass ceiling, right? So how do we do that? How do we get past it?
Yeah, but the fact that it's a glass ceiling is important because you can see what the people above you are doing, and then you can take that and use it for yourself to kind of, move yourself through it.
Right. The art, it's funny. Daphne and I always get into this conversation. The conversation we always have is it something I'm willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it something I can do? Right? Mm-hmm. Because I can say, well, I want to write Spider-Man, and that would definitely put me on a higher level. But go get that job first, because that's the tough part, right? Is it something I'm willing to do, right? Some people do Cthulhu, some people do, I don't know, Sherlock Holmes, right? Or one other of these various, free IPs that are out there that are in public domain. Do I want to do that, right? Because I've used some of those characters, but do I want to make that my staple thing? I don't know. Right. So yeah, and then of course, being who I am, I'm an artiste, so I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to worry about. I don't want to worry about other. I don't want to think about any of that other BS. I just want to write the story I want to write. I don't give two shits about the rest of it. And
right.
to hell with it. They're just gonna do what I'm gonna do. And I'm not. And here's the thing, I just need enough, right? That's the conclusion that I've come to. I need just enough to keep the train running, right? Just enough fuel to keep that train running, right? And I pick people up as I go along, thankfully. But and the other thing is, you got to remember, as you pick people up, there are people jumping off. You got to keep people, coming back on, right? So it's a weird little game we play, because for every 5 people you get jumping on, you might have 2 people jumping off. Right, and it might come back later, but you just loop around to them. But yeah, that's always been. So for me, that's the void. Is just like seeing that ceiling. It's just like, how do I get past that? Right. So yeah, that's always been the thing for me. And I think it's one of those things where it's like we should accept it, but don't concede to it. Right. Understand it's there, but still fight against it, because I don't care how thick that plexiglass is, I'm gonna get through it at some point.
Well, and then one more thing, like, we're talking about views and stuff. People, there's been people out there have been like, there's no point in doing these shows anymore. Nobody watches, blah blah blah. I'm like, this patently false. I was literally at a Comic-Con last weekend. Somebody came up to the booth and they looked at me and they were like, "Aren't you on that podcast all the time?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" They were like, I watch you on podcasts like all the time. And it's not me, because I only do one podcast like a week of my own. But it was this panel stuff that they were talking about. And I was like, yeah, I'm on like a whole bunch of them. They were like, "It's so great. I can't believe I get to meet you. I love watching you guys, not just me, but I love watching you guys talk about stuff." And I was like, awesome. So again, it's like, you may not see the click. You may not see the thumbs up. You may not see they may not comment, but they're watching, they're seeing it, and that can translate down the line.
Yeah,
I'm a notorious lurker on people's like podcasts or webcomics.
On my podcast that we do on Mondays that I do with Allison, like, we have tons of watchers, and they all just sit there and listen to us jabber. And we're like, "Do you guys have questions? Like, we can talk to you too. Like, feel free to like take part in this thing." And they're all just like, "Oh, we just like listening to you guys talk." I'm like, "Oh my God. All right, well, we'll do that then." But if you got questions, help us out. Same thing with this show. If you guys got questions as we're going, like, just stop us and take part.
Yeah. I mean, listen, things get weird. I live in New York City. So things get weird when I'm walking down the block and I hear someone shout out my name. Some random person. I'm like, it's like, what the hell is that? So yeah, it's happened twice. So it's a little weird. It's also weird walking in a convention and someone was like, "Oh, I watch your podcast," and I'd be like, "Oh, thanks." Yeah, so that's a little strange too. So, but interesting. Tom, you got a question?
We need to go to the comments real quick.
We do. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. But the next one's the most important one. There we go. There we
That
go.
one.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael is my one true YouTube guy. Like, we're on YouTube. I don't promote it really at all, but every time that we do a show, we always just stream it to YouTube, and Michael's always there. And Michael brings questions. Amazing. Michael is fantastic. I love it. Michael, your book is in the mail too, by the way. So keep your eye open for on your mailbox.
How does he get his omnibus before I do?
It's not that book. It's a different book. It's a different book.
You gotta know someone. That's how you get your book.
He's here every week.
You gotta be my one YouTube guy.
Oh, okay.
That's he's truly special.
That's
my
real
one YouTube guy.
Gotcha. Tom, you got a question?
I got a curiosity. Are we still? How do I phrase this?
As bluntly as you usually do.
Yeah. Are we still out here afraid about AI?
Fair.
Mostly just annoyed by it.
That's very fair. I mean, that's very fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Grant, what are your thoughts?
Am I afraid of AI? Yeah, I mean, just because, I mean, people keep saying like it's terrible, which it is, but just because it's terrible doesn't mean it won't catch on.
All right, fair. Sean,
but to take it one step further, this is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's not going away. Are you afraid of it? Is it going to take your job away? Are you going to be able to continue doing what you do with it existing parallel to you? Do you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of people generally have the fear of it's going to take my job, whatever the job is, artistically, in some cases within corporate worlds and stuff, data entry and things like that. Like, we're going to kind of hyper focus this more on like comics and art and so on. Is anyone here afraid that AI is going to take their job?
I don't think it's going to take my job. It might increase competition because more people are going to be making comic books, granted more terrible comic books. But I still think that there's going to be a desire for stuff that's actually made by a human being.
That's the whole point, though. That's the whole point of doing art, is that you're putting yourself into it. And it's so easy, especially right now, to see the AI fascinate the hell out of me because of all of the different things that you're seeing. But I hope that the courts, that the legalities of it catch up to the technology, because the copyright issues really have to be finished and addressed. But I think you're going to see AI morph into more of a tool. And you already are in a lot of the industries. And you're seeing, it's at the point now where you're seeing a lot of folks take advantage of it. They'll sit there and go, I can create my own singer, make fake songs and throw them up on Spotify and make money. You're going to see this happen for a little while until all of that settles out. But I feel in the long run that it's the tool. I mean, you shouldn't be afraid of the tool. You should learn how to use it properly, and you should learn how to use it to further your art. And that's going to be really rough for a few years as these corporate and these other greedy SOBs are going to go through and see how many different ways they can abuse the system. Yeah. Which usually happens with any kind of new technology that walks in. But in the end result, I think I'm already seeing some incredibly artistic stuff coming out, like the guy who takes the comments about the Snow White movie and turns it into a song. That isn't all AI. That takes somebody sitting there and figuring out how to arrange that properly for the AI to use it, somebody to get to know the tool and use it creatively. And I think in the long run, we're going to see a lot more of that. But in the short run, there's really going to be a mess with those copyright problems and people stealing, swiping styles and all of this. I was just forced to take on a WordPad subscription. And sorry, I'm going to sound like an old geezer here because I am. But after using WordPad for a certain amount of time, they came back at me and said, oh, well, if you want everything that you've already typed in here, you're going to have to start paying us $9.99 a month. And then paying that, I stumbled across an AI prompter in the damn thing. You start playing around with it, and it genuinely gets scary.
Yeah,
You know, it's very fascinating to sit there and play with it, but it's a tool, and once you learn how to use it creatively, you know.
I don't doubt that there are people who can use it creatively, but to me, that's what 3, maybe 4% of the people who are using it.
Yeah,
versus,
yeah. You're gonna see that all settle out through the court and everybody being fined for copyright and trademark abuse. It's all going to come down. There's going to be all sorts of lawsuits flying all over the place. So I think there already should be. But on the same, on the other side of the coin, there are people out there advertising movie apps now that you can take your story and turn it into a actual film using AI. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so far I agree with everything everyone said, of course. But I mean, when it comes to comics on like Kickstarter and everything like that, I mean, you see them on there, but they get called out all the time too. Mm-hmm. So I don't really see a lot of AI comics doing well. I mean, there might be some, but all the ones I've ever heard about, people are calling out and they're not funding, or they're having issues, or their page looks like crap, and then something goes wrong. Hey Marvin. But yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of being my job being taken by AI. It is really annoying and it's frustrating, but there's always gonna be something. If it's not AI, it's something else that's gonna try to go against me, in some way. So it is what it is.
Oh, yeah. And for comics, this art form is always evolving, and you're always going to be picking up the new tools of the new tech in order to convert words and pictures and be able to blend them together literally. But you can tell, and you can still tell when something's done AI as opposed to being on the creative end of it, just from the lack of originality and soul it's just missing from it. So I think those projects, people working in niche markets, and the niche market that we're in, there should be a level of pride and insight on anybody using AI. They all ought to be pointed out. They should be made to declare that up front in their campaigns, that this is an AI generated product, just so people will know better.
In Kickstarter, you have to.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah. Good.
Yeah. There's literally, it won't let you move forward unless you click a couple of buttons in there. So. Yeah.
Is anyone checking that though? So if they don't check the box, is someone flagging it later?
Well, I mean, it's probably another AI.
Yeah.
Well, the AI is not going to call out itself.
Yeah, but Marvin, did you hear the question?
I did not.
Tom,
Marvin has strong opinions.
The general question was, are we still all afraid of AI? And then more specifically, just within our space of comics, art, whatever, are you afraid AI is going to be able to take your job, for example? Where are you with the AI problem?
So I hear the AI word every day, and my coworker and I drink every time we hear it, and like we work drunk continuously for the past month
because how are you standing?
It comes up. So and because of the nature of the things, like I have to go and I have to research AI as a thing. And when I hear about how much water, how much electricity, like the infrastructure in the United States can't handle the server farms that they're putting up for AI. So come next summer, the more of those farms they put up, the more brownouts you're going to see. So it's just going to drain energy from everyone else. And you've seen that a bunch of the tech bros are already saying the bubbles is getting ready to burst on it, because people have invested so much money into this thing and can't get anything out of it. So there's no way you can make money from it. The only people that are making money are the people who are at both ends of the pipeline. So anytime anyone is selling AI to someone, they're going to say, well, we're going to sell you this package, and then we're going to sell you this package to undo it, because eventually you're going to have to stop using it because the thing is it's not trustworthy. You can't trust it. Like it can't run a vending machine. It can't run a self checkout. It can't do takeout. It can't do anything that it's supposed to. It has to think unless it's being fed. So recently, I think Lionsgate got burned because they paid all this money for an AI to make movies, and we're told that they don't have enough IPs to feed the thing. They said Disney doesn't have the IPs to feed the thing, so you can't feed it enough for it to churn anything out that's going to be acceptable.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's not really artificial intelligence. It's just a big probability machine.
Yep.
It takes information that's input into it, and then when it's asked to make a thing, it says, all right, what's the next letter that's most likely to appear in this sentence? What's the next pixel that I should put here based on probability? So it's really kind of silly when you look at the whole thing that, you know, really the only one hyping up these tools anymore are these tech bros, and they've put all their money into this, but it doesn't return anything really useful or worthwhile, because it's just, you know, it's a probability machine. It's a slot machine. You put a coin in, you hope you get out another coin in return. You hope you get out what you put into it. So I think, one, we're still seeing a lot of blowback in, like, with people, everyday people like us who are seeing this AI stuff. We're like, this is silly. This is weird. It's off-putting. Like, we don't like it. We want stuff made by people. And I think you're seeing that even more and more as time has gone on. And it's just not catching on. And what was the stat? There was a stat in an article recently, like at least 95 to like 98% of investments put into AI don't return anything.
There's no money here.
Exactly. It's just like this kind of a black hole. So while this technology will always be around in some capacity, you know, I think we're going to see it less and less, and the hype is going to die down as we realize we can't really get anything out of it. And like you said, if the bubble's going to burst, then we should be turning the corner soon, but not before things get more annoying in the meantime.
Right. But the problem with it is that because they put so much change into it, and like I said, that they're getting money from both ends of the pipe, they'll let a bubble form, and then they'll let that one burst, and then all these companies will be out. And what will happen is that all the people they fired, they're going to have to hire back because they have to undo the damage that it's going to do. So right now, think about it like this. So you have new people coming to the job market and using AI to make a resume, and the companies are using AI to read the resumes, and it's automatically rejecting it because it says it's AI.
I recognize my brother.
Yeah.
Well, there was one company that specifically was asking people not to use AI to generate their resumes because they were using an AI to read the resume, and because the AI was having a hard time telling them apart. Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things. But I mean, for myself, like it's like Randy was saying, it's a tool, right? So you just have to find the space that tool can be well utilized, right? I know for myself as a comic book creator, I write my books, send them off to my artists, they return them, I letter them. Okay, that's the other thing that I do. I like word placement. I do not like to put in word balloons though. If I can get an AI to put in my word balloons, which I do all myself, I would be very, very appreciative. That's the only part I would need an AI to assist me on a comic. And it's not even an assistance. I don't need it. It would just save me time, and it would just make things a little bit easier, right? Which is in the end what we're all looking for, right?
Yeah, you have to feed it though. You have to feed it that idea of what you do.
Right. I would prefer to just be able to go like, look, that's a word balloon. Put it there, you son bitch. Just put it there, you know? Because that's
and you think
that's how you get
Terminator. You'd think it'd be real easy to get that software together to be able to do that. But as silly as it might sound, lettering's an art form. You know, that the balloon placement is incredibly important when you're doing sequential art. And that's not you're not always going to hit that off of an AI program.
Well, no. Well, what I do is the word placement. So I will put the words in, so it would know where to put the balloon. You know what I mean? It would just follow the balloon. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
Consistent
you.
spacing.
Right.
I agree with you that drawing the word balloon is the most annoying part of making comics.
Yeah. You know, and
It's so boring and repetitive. Yeah.
The other thing is like, you know, I know we're making a lot of light of it, but one of the things that I've discussed I'm not necessarily a proponent for, but what I will say is this: those people who really learn how to use AI and who are talented, you understand, who are talented, will be able to utilize AI in ways that will probably astound us.
Already are,
probably in the speed they're going to be able to do things, because, you know, everybody's heard, you know, you can put in a prompt, right, feed it to an AI, and it'll spit out a novel, right? If you know how to edit, if you already know how to write, let's say you could write out, you know, a 5-page prompt, feed it to the AI, it can spit out the novel. If you already know how to write, if you know how to do dialogue, you know how to do pacing, you know how to do all these things already, you can sit there and edit that thing into something readable. And you could probably do that within a week. So you could probably get some.
You don't need to make it readable. Twilight was a success. Okay. I mean, let's be real.
Some of the books coming out now.
Some of us have standards.
Yep.
Some of us have standards. But I'm just saying, if you really have those abilities, just like if you find someone who's feeding image XY, you can have a photographer going out there feeding images into an AI, and, you know, it'll be able to create all these other weird images. And if they know Photoshop well enough, right, they might be able to do some fantastic stuff in it, right? We don't know, right? So those are the things I'm talking about. Even if you get a team of 3 or 4 guys who really know how to use this technology, if you get one guy who knows how to lay out a page, rough layout, and you could feed it in, and let's say one of these companies gets together with, I don't know, Marvel or DC, and they say, well, all right, we want this comic drawn like John Buscema. Boom, and it can hand you the page drawn like John Buscema by a guy who knows how to do a layout, right? And then you'd have another guy who maybe knows how to like fix the coloring, or maybe go in and like touch up whatever needs to be touched up, right?
But one of the problems you're going to have with that is, since the laws are always behind technology, what happens when those things go to copyright?
Right. No. Well, hold on. My other argument is that
that's another question.
No. My other argument has always been like, you have to wait until Disney gets into that game.
Yeah.
You understand? Once Disney gets into that game and they have their own AI system, they're going to feed all these things in there, right? And it's only a matter of time before Jack Kirby is reborn, before George Perez is reborn. You understand? It's just a matter of time. And then look, and those companies may do something like talk to those families in advance and say, listen, we're going to cut you.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're going to have to pay a royalty of some type, for sure.
Right. And if they cut in those families, they're not going to complain. Right? What's anybody going to be able to do? It's their property. It was all work for hire. Right? And that's the scenarios that I'm talking about. But that, I still think we're 3 or 4 years away from that at minimum. You know, because the way they talk about it is the level, the way the technology is growing. I mean, if it's able to grow the way they keep saying, but who knows? I like traditional, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but you know, they did not move forward with any of the shutdown laws either, like the kill switches. So once the thing gets out of hand, you're not going to be able to turn it off.
Hey, you know, what is it? Skynet is coming.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
so all those things on Facebook where they're like, hey, show your pictures from when you were 6 and when you were 60. Don't do it, because now they've got your face.
There you go.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, you know, what are we doing this whole comics thing for, right? It's because we like the whole process of making it. There's something important in that. So even if these companies are going to come along with that technology, I think there's still the point of making comics. It's the honing of your craft, putting in the effort, putting in the time to make the thing. And that's the important part. Yeah, there's a book at the end that people read and we want them to read it and enjoy it, but the making of that book and everything that went into that is just as important as the book itself. Even if the end reader doesn't realize all that on the upfront, it comes in through the final product. So, you know, these AI machines and whatever, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, but is it going to have the same worth and value as something that a person made? Like, we can bring back Jack Kirby, but what if there's a new person out there that could make something that could be just as beloved in the future, you know, because they put in the effort to make the thing. So I think in that way, you're always going to have things made by people are just always going to have that edge and advantage. And that's going to be what people really gravitate towards and remember.
No, I agree. And you make a great point. And one of the things that I think we always need to watch out for, because we already have it and we've been having it for years, we have these people, because I don't want to refer to them as really as creators, who come into this business, right? Because it is a business for many. It's not just an art form, right? Because I consider it an art form, and I'm sure everybody here does too. But there are people coming into this business who look at it just as a business, and they're just here to grind out as much money as they can out of it. And they're going to do it by spending the least amount of money and doing the least amount of work they can. And you see them all the time at shows. You see them all the time on Kickstarter, you know. They're out there, you know, and they're constantly talking shit as to how great their stuff is. And it's usually the biggest steaming pile of crap you could ever come across.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And those are the guys who are going to be primarily using this technology, you know. And there's already several of them on Kickstarter already doing them, who've been in the game for 30, 40 years.
Well, every technology, though, has that kind of abuse at the start. You get the greedy SOBs that pop in that try to. Well, comics is notorious for that. Anytime that there's a trend, there's 15 imitations right off the bat. You know, look at how many funny animal books popped up after Turtles, and how many of these guys went out there and abused the system with really inferior black and white product for like Soulson and those guys, Blackthorn, and just companies that names just escape me, that just threw books together thinking that the retailer was going to think it's the next Turtles and, you know, buy a crap load of it. The same thing's happening with EI. You had a creator, a writer for DC that was going around trying to standardize everybody's comic scripts to make sure everybody used the exact same format. And the reason she was doing that was so that it would be easier to program her chat GBT for it into that format. But you're seeing this, the abuses are already happening. It's a matter of, you know, how we handle that, call them out, sue them, whatever you have to do in order to secure your personal, you know, rights and your personal IPs.
Yeah.
The thing that's really crazy now, though, is you can steal styles, and that's just incredible. There's a big class action suit with a bunch of artists, especially in the fantasy community, that are suing over them stealing their styles. And that's going to be real interesting to see how that settles out in court.
Yep. All right, we'll see. So, Tom, what do you think? Your question.
So for me, I've talked about this a long time. You really have to. There's always the moral part of it. There's the stuff that Marvin was talking about, the environmental part of it. But when you're in the game, really, it comes down to the end user. It's who's buying it. Can you convince somebody to buy it? You know, hey, I made this thing on AI. I made an art print out of it. I'm selling it at a con. Will you give me $20 for this? And I think right now we're seeing that for the most part, that's a no. Not a no across the board, but it is a no for the most part. What I'm seeing is, and I'll tell you, I've watched AI stuff. It's been a year and a half since this stuff really launched, and we used to get, noodle fingers and stuff sticking into your brains.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're watching movies a year and a half later that look quote unquote good, right? Like the AI stuff that I've been seeing in art is, just taking leaps and bounds month after month after month. I look at something will just come through on my page and I'll be like, holy shit, who is that? And then, I go and take a look at it and it's like, oh, it's an AI guy. Of course it is. So, but even though it has, hundreds or thousands of likes, it doesn't mean that that's translating to anything like we've talked about. It doesn't translate into a monetary value at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I think ultimately it's going to be, what does the end user want? Will they accept that as a thing? There are some examples of yes. There are more examples of no. It will come down to whether or not these IP hubs come down on these AI places. We've already seen it where Disney's come after, I think it was Midjourney, for not for the AI, but for producing IP infringement. They were producing Spider-Man and whatever, right? So, hey, if this is what's coming out of your stuff, that's our IP. You can't do that.
Right.
What I find really interesting there is, why are they coming down on the AI and not the fan art people at cons that are doing the exact same thing? So if one of these things, if they get any traction with this whole thing with the IP, that might create a completely different domino effect going the other way too.
Maybe, but right now I think you're seeing Disney looking at it as the difference between mass production and art.
Yeah, but it's once they realize that mass production is happening in the comic book world, because I'm not talking about originals like sketch covers and stuff, one-offs and whatever. I'm talking about people who are like, here's my Batman piece. We're going to make 100 of these prints. We're going to take them to the con. We're going to do it again at 20 cons every month, every year, over and over again. Once that gets sunk into somebody's brain at Disney, that's going to collapse, because you're talking about millions upon millions of dollars year in and year out that's happening from the fan art world.
And
do you think they don't think it's worth sending someone to each one of these shows to look and see if it's happening?
That's the thing.
Or do they need someone at the show to be snitching on those people?
I don't even think it's a snitching problem. It's there. Everybody knows. It's just
right
a matter
now,
of whether they care. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. If they care about the AI side of it, it may be that the other side of that coin will almost maybe have to be this, because the argument will be, well, guys, we're making this AI stuff, yes, but you don't care about any of this. Why don't you care about any of this? And that could be the domino that tips it all over.
Right. Well, that would come up during discovery, and if there's a lawsuit, then they'll say, well, we discovered at con, mega con, super con, con, that X number of people were selling art prints of your characters that they didn't license from you. Why are you not going after them?
That's it. That's what I'm saying. It's a domino that could really have a ripple effect. But back to the AI, I think it is, AI basically is screaming into the void right now. Anybody care? Anybody want this? Whatever it is. And we're finding out that it's a very mixed result. And no matter how good it gets, it feels like whenever somebody finds out that it's an AI product of some kind, there seems to be a negative connotation to it. One of the biggest examples that's happening right now is The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere in Las Vegas, where they used AI to, for those that don't know, the Sphere is a gigantic movie theater, basically.
Bubble.
And they project this on the inside of this gigantic bubble. So when you play a movie, it's only this big, and they have to fill in all the rest of it. So they used AI and computer generated stuff to fill in all this stuff. And there's a lot of people that are very upset about the AI part of it. There's people that are upset about very specific aspects where they actually digitally removed Munchkin's faces and replaced it with like backers of this thing. It's really weird.
Technology is scary.
And but then there's other people who are just like, this is mind blowing. This is an amazing experience. Like, look at the freaking twister. It's everywhere. I'm inside of it. And so again, it's like you've got like this sort of weird 50-50. Yes, we like it. No, we don't. And so I think at the end of the day, I think we are going to, even if AI is going to exist in one way, shape, or form forever now. But I think that, like we talked about with the social media rejection and wanting sort of the more connective tissue for people, I think that down the line, the idea that you can say this is a people-made product, not an AI product, that will have bonus value, because it'll be like, well, here's two products. I like both of them. Okay, cool. That one was made by AI. This one was made by these 4 people. Which one do you want? Oh,
Right.
that was made by people. I think people are going to gravitate that way.
Right. And there's one thing that like people are missing from the AI movie thing. Now you lose costumes, you lose props. So now you're makeup artists. So you're removing things from that process. Now, when you have your award season, what are you giving people awards for? Because no one did anything.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, Tom, the thing you were mentioning earlier about Disney going in and claiming their copyrights at conventions, it's funny because I remember having a conversation with Daphne, and she was telling me how they were using Etsy, right? And Etsy, these people on there, they would create Disney products, like they would put like little gems on the ears or whatever, and Disney would use them as test marketers, and they would go in, look at the stuff they're moving and selling, and then Disney would then adapt that stuff and start putting it out.
Yep.
And there's absolutely nothing these people could say to them because it was their product anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, and there's no real alchemy to it, but we do have the alchemist of Aurelia.
There we are.
Wow, that's a transition. Woo!
All right. So do you want me to play this video, Melissa?
No. No, I don't like to see myself on video, but yeah, so I got this running. I'm going till Friday, so we're in the last home stretch. It is an Ottoman Turkish fantasy adventure series. It's a book-loving wizard and her familiar have to go on a quest to thwart a witch's revenge, and they're really hoping that this old legend is true so that they'll have a way to actually defeat her, because otherwise, if it's not true, they're going to be sunk. And shenanigans ensue. And then tragedy.
All right, cool. Now, you said this is the first 4 issues in the series?
Yep. So this is the collected edition of those first 4 issues. It's going to be over 180 pages. There's also some bonus content and additional short comics. We also have like mini strips in the back too that are like humorous little background takes on things in the story. We're going to have what else? There's a lot in this book. See, I can't even remember everything that's going to be in this very special, very nice looking book. There's going to be a map of the world. We've never really had a map fully realized, so we're going to put out that for the first time. There's going to be a lot of good things. So, yeah, make sure you check it out.
All right, cool. Now, the 4 issues, is this the complete story? Is this one part of the, like it says volume 1, so is there going to be a volume 2?
Oh yes, absolutely. So this is kind of think of this like the first arc of the story, and then issue 5 is going to be starting the next arc. So this will be the collected edition of that first bit where we're getting started on the quest. We're getting the party together. So this is a perfect time to jump on board, especially if you're new to the series or if you've been away for a while, and to come in and get the story so far to be ready for that issue 5 when it comes out. And I've got pins, and they're going to be sparkly, and I'm really excited because I've never made a pin before, so please get pins.
Nice. All right, cool. I mean, all right. So, I mean, just out of curiosity, like, what is your release schedule looking like? Do you release quarterly, biannually?
Oh gosh, I wish. It's been kind of held up. It's been like a year, like 1 or 2 books a year. So I also have another series as well that I'm going to be leaning into hard next year because it takes place in 1926 and it's going to be 2026. So it's going to be the year of Black Ball, and we're going to have a good time with that. So they do come out regularly, and I do make sure to keep everyone in the loop about what's going on and what I'm working on. So yeah, I try to keep it going. It's tough with a day job, and then you pick up other projects on the side. So, but I keep it moving best I can.
Okay, I know that feeling.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the day job. Ugh.
Yeah. What a bother.
Seriously, it really is. All right, so I mean, you got 5 days. You got 5 days ago. You got 69 backers. You're about what 2/3 of the way there. So you got a little bit of hustle to do, but I think you can definitely make this. So
Everyone is so optimistic for me. I'm like, I don't know, and everyone's like, you can do it, Melissa. Keep going. I'm like, I just want to lay down and eat carbs, but okay, I'll keep going.
as long as those carbs include chocolate, fine.
Oh yeah.
But it looks
we talked about shouting into the void. I had a couple of big pledges from Germany, so I'm like, maybe we just need to shout into Germany. Maybe that's where the comic readers are. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
Could be. I've always heard France.
I know we've got Atlantean being translated for the Brazilian and the Danish market. We're seeing how that is going to work out. We haven't seen any definite numbers back from them yet, but they've been running campaigns for about the last 30 days or so.
Oh, cool. So through those markets, are you, is it like distribution like we have here, like do stores, or is it like they're running campaigns like we're doing here?
It's both. Over in Brazil, they're running campaigns first, doing a crowdfunder, and then they're going to do a different version of it and release it for retail. And Danish, I think they're just releasing to the shops.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Nice. Now we got Memoirs of the Morbid. Grant, do you want me to play this video?
Yeah.
All right.
Greetings, ghouls and boils. I'm the Ghoul Master, a loving homage to horror anthology narrators of yesteryear. Wait, I'm an homage? Why didn't anybody tell me? You'll hear from my agent about this. But first, let's get to the heart of the matter. I'm here to tell you about the new horror anthology, Memoirs of the Morbid, on Kickstarter in time for Halloween. Memoirs of the Morbid is a black and white homage to classic horror comics from the 40s and 50s, containing 5 self-contained stories by some of the best indie comic creators out there. There's that word again. I better not find out homage is an insult. Anyways, Memoirs of the Morbid is completely done and ready to go to the printer. So don't make a grave mistake by missing it.
All right. Cool. All right. So Grant, walk us through it. What do we got?
Yeah, so as he said, it's an homage to EC Comics, which were horror comic books from the 30s and 40s. And this is in the same style as that. It's 4 independent stories. And like I said, you don't have to have read previous volumes in order to understand what's going on. They're all self-contained.
Okay, cool. How many pages does the issue run?
About 50, a little over 50.
Okay, cool. And you said there's 4, so they're just 4 short stories?
There's 4 short stories, and there's a bonus section that with a sponsorship deal that we have. We were sponsored by a staffing company that provides undead employees. So, except they don't like the expression undead. They like to call them post-living.
Gotcha. So if it is an AI, is it going to be the post-living that's going to be taking over all our jobs?
Well, yeah. Well, that's, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of allegorical stuff you can read into the idea of post-living employees, right?
Cool. Now, so what's your history with horror and like EC Comics? Like, have you been a big fan for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of people, I discovered it with the movies and TV shows that were based on those things. But yeah, I've always loved. I go more for like psychological horror, more than just like really gruesome horror. But yeah, I think like a lot of people, I grew up on DC Comics.
Okay, cool. So you got 51 backers. You're more than halfway there. You got another 29 days. So I think you're sitting comfortably. You're definitely going to make your goal.
Right.
So I mean, now are you? This is obviously a one shot. Are you looking to do more in the future?
Yeah. So this is actually volume 3. So I've been going. I do like color coordinated as opposed to numbered, just because I don't want people to think that they have to read volume 1 in order to understand volume 2 or 3. So this is the orange volume, and I've already done the red and the blue volumes.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. I thought you were going the whole Roy G. Biv thing, and I was like, I said you moved ahead. You're out of order.
Right.
Yeah. But no, it's really cool. Nice. Now, how many of these do you put out? Do you put out one of these annually, or you do these every other year?
Right now, it's been about once every 2 years.
Once every 2 years. Okay, cool, very nice. I mean, listen, it looks awesome. So everybody, go out and get a copy.
Thanks.
Nice. All right. No more snappy intros. Here you go, Sean.
Yep. So we're in pre-launch. We go live on Tuesday, so I have a couple days. I was trying to get to 150 followers, but we're in that realm, so I'm definitely happy where we're at. But Hospice is season 2. We're starting that out. Travis Gibbs started that with 6 or 7 creators for the first season. I'm the first of 6 creators to do a story that'll be a trade eventually at the end of next year is the plan. And the Scale Key is my mini series that I'm starting with Hospice, and will actually be 2 more issues after that on its own. It'll be like from the pages of Hospice kind of thing. This is my 3rd series. He's Alistair Redgrave is his name. He's a generational demon hunter. When he was a kid, his father was teaching him how the trade, and they're in hell. And one of the pages will show basically he was put in danger. Of course, you're in hell, and his dad had to throw him through the portal. His arm got chopped off at that kind of bottom to the left of that page. It's kind of small in the pre-launch, but so he lost his arm. He's all alone, and he eventually realized that as he's trying to take on demon hunters or demons on the Earth side, that eventually this scaled arm was growing back, and he controls all the demons that he has stopped and thwarted. And so it's kind of like Devil May Cry meets Hellboy with a Pokemon-like twist. So a lot of things mashed up together, everything that I like. None of my other characters have been the anti-hero, the punk rocker kind of sarcastic and just the cool guy that everybody wants to be kind of thing. So I let loose on this one, and it's just a lot of fun. And this is actually that cover is my my artist. He's my inker and colorist for the entire book, and he came up with that crazy cover, and I love that. That cover by itself is just insane.
No, great job. You did a fantastic job. Looks good. When are you launching? 2 days?
Yeah, Tuesday at 10 a.m. is the plan.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, you got 131 followers, so I think you're in a good spot.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Now we have. All right, this guy. I don't know about this guy. All right, Marvin.
What? Am I the new JD?
Huh? You said, show up a half hour late. What do you expect?
I was on another stream, man. It's not my fault. I double booked. It is my fault. Never mind.
Do you want me to play this video?
Sure, you can play it.
Cool. That's enough of that, Marvin. Anyway. So walk us through this, Marvin. What do we got?
Sure. So this is the 1/18th Blaine action figure and one-shot comic. So action figure is 25 points of circulation, multiple heads, multiple hands. So he's got trigger hands, he's got fists, he's got slapping hands because you got to slap people sometimes.
He's got Wayne Brady hands.
Yes. Yeah. So you can get into all the cool poses. So, I've got listed on there all the articulation points. And it includes a one-shot comic called Blaine High Stakes, where Blaine is headed to Las Vegas to extract someone who's running their mouth about the edge. So he's got some information he's willing to sell on the market. And, of course, he went to Vegas to do this.
All right. Cool.
So we've got the main figure. We've got Army Builder sets. I just actually was just revealed a new set of Army Builder figures on the last stream that I was on.
Nice. So how long have you had this in development?
Since 2019, I believe.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Each figure it takes longer than it should to order, I'll say. So yeah, so we got Wamblems and Wham Stand on discount here. So they were nice to give us some of those to share with the fans. So you can get Wamblems for $5. So they're any logo, and then they're magnetic, so you can stick to the front of the stand. So they're like comic stands. But he is working on action figure stands now.
Cool.
So there's our Army Builder figure. So you can get a set of those. Normally, they're 1 for $30. They come with 4 heads, or you can get 4 of them for $80.
Okay. Now, are these actual figures you're buying, or you're just buying the little program to print it out?
No, these will be actual figures. These ones will be polybag. They won't be make it cheap.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So we got the extra heads you can be added on. There's stretch goals.
Mm-hmm.
We got card set, so adding new cards to the set. That's Kyrad, who appears. He's the villain of the current story arc that started in issue 10.
Cool.
Adding suits. Adding the character Rev, the Revolution. Adding the budget assassin Ryle, who's always broke for some reason. We got Coffee again.
So how popular is the coffee?
Coffee went really fast last time. Like I think I had like 400 bags of coffee. After Kickstarters and having a list on the website, I think I had 1 bag left that I kept for myself, and now it's all crunchy and hard. So yeah. So the coffee, I was actually selling the coffee at cons for people who didn't like comic books. There was a guy that came past. He said he didn't read comics. So I said, "Do you like coffee?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I've got bags of coffee." We got coffee. We got poker chips. We got all kind of goodies in this.
Nice. So, I mean, how did the toy come about? Like, what was the process?
So I've known the guys from Loose Collector since like the 2010s when they were just on custom figures, and they did do some custom figures for me back then. So they did do a Blaine custom figure a long time ago.
Cool.
So then when they started, I think in 2019 is when they started like producing their own figures. So I think it was Lady Death they did first. So I contacted them and say, "Hey, I want to do a 1/18 scale," and they really didn't want to do 1/18. They wanted to do 1/12, but I kind of talked them into it. So I believe I will be the only 1/18 customer with them.
Now, for those of us who have no idea what that geek language means, what exactly is the 1/18 versus a 1/12 in like actual inches?
Oh, so 1/18 is 3 1/4 inches, almost 4 inches. So if you think of G.I. Joe from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and 1/12 is the current 6-inch figures.
Mm-hmm.
So Star Wars Black, G.I. Joe Classifieds, Marvel Legends.
Critter.
I was going to say Critter. It's getting there. There was another character that was done by Loose Collector. And then my next question is, why has Tom not done other action figures after he did Critters?
Oh, I can tell you, but
All right, cool. Well, I mean, you still got 23 days to go. You've passed the halfway point, so that's good. I mean, you got your hustle to put on, but I think you got enough hustle to get it done. So
it's going to be an uphill battle, but I mean,
hey, listen,
I got more streams to do.
That's true. But very nice. It looks good. I mean, the toy looks awesome. So that's gonna be a cool figure to have. Very nice. All right, cool. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. This is my next campaign. This is Fallen Gods for the Oswald Chronicles. It's a trade paperback. I believe this was gonna be 160 pages. This one's full color. This was actually the very first comic book I did with Jade Gonzalez. So this was very early on. This was 14 years ago at this point. So yeah. So it's Oswald. He encounters an elf sorcerer who takes over the power of a god, and this god was literally within this fairy realm, placing the sun in the sky every day, and he steals that ability from this god. And Oswald's there, and they're asking him to try to fix this for him. So that's the story. But anyway, all right, Randy.
Hey, I got something.
Go ahead, Tom.
Where?
It's shared. In the bottom screen thing.
I got it. I got you. All right, Tom.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we're going to be launching our BD 15 anthology on Saturday, but we also have what we have named the BD Index, which is the who's who of all our characters. So we're going to be doing it just like Marvel did it, just A through Z. So the first issue is 9 volt through Critter. It's going to be 32 different characters by 32 different artists. We didn't let anybody double up. I wanted to give a ton of artists an opportunity to do this. This is what the book is going to look like with a bunch of our characters.
Nice.
And again, 32 different artists, a whole bunch of colorists. I designed and wrote all this nonsense out. Some of these guys have started working on this in 2020. We just had so much to do, and I had so much going on that I just never could really focus it and get it done. But since this is our 15-year anniversary, I was like, we have to get this done now. Issue 1 is done. And it includes the first appearance of the new outfit for Critter that got teased in Critter number 25 that is out now. But this will be the first official full appearance of her new costume. So there we go. That'll be Saturday the 11th.
Is issue 25 coming through Massive?
In a few years, yeah. They're only at issue 10 right now. And they do that every 2 months. So it's going to be a minute before we get to issue 25. So if you need a 25, if that's the only one you need, Marvin, we can get you squared away.
Okay.
But yeah, Critter is back in stores now. It's through Filbo, it's through Massive Indies. Antarctic Press, of course, is producing the Critter books. So they just took the information for I believe it was Critter 10. They're also reprinting our in fact the first one was Cricket. They're reprinting our one-shots that we did to kind of expand the Critterverse within AP. So there's Cricket, there's Rookie, there's Electric Youth, and there's Slipstream. Those are all one-shots. So Critter has been coming out every other month, and now in the gap months we're going to put these one-shots. So we're actually going to have 8 straight months of the Critterverse through AP starting whenever it is. I think in January is when Critter 9 comes out, something like that, and then it'll alternate for 8 months, all Critter stuff. So that'll be super cool. But this is Critter 25. This is way ahead of the AP folks. But if you need to catch up, we can get you caught up. It's all on the website.
All right, cool. Now, how long is this campaign going to run for? Because I know you're notorious for doing 2-day campaigns.
Yeah, it's going to be a day and a half, and we'll be done. it's going to go till it's going to be 3 weeks. It's going to go till November 1st, and right as the last week of our campaign starts, Dren Publications is going to be launching somewhere in there the book that I did for them called Plan 39 from Outer Space. So in that last week, we're going to have my last week and the first week of that book. So we'll be doing a lot of yelling into the void for that week.
A lot of cross promotion. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Very nice. Very nice.
Yep.
All right, cool. Randy, do you have a question?
Not really, but I can make one up here. We talk about yelling into the void a lot. What are your most successful things that you do when you're yelling into the void? What's done good for you?
Okay. Melissa, I think you were up.
Oh, geez. I'm not sure I have an answer for this because sometimes it feels very random about what does well and what does not do well. So, for example, I generally find that video works better for me. I think putting my personality a little more forward and talking to people more directly through a video seems to go over really well with my audience. I've thrown things out there like I did this sketch, but it'll get hundreds of reactions, but I might do like a finished piece that I'm really proud of and 5 people looked at it.
Where would you post that on?
Kind of all over. So now I'm posting mostly on Substack and Blue Sky and a little bit on Facebook, but back in the days of the Grams when I was on there, it was definitely like very hit and miss, like what got traction and what didn't. Even if I was posting in the same hashtags that were kind of popping off, like doing someone's draw this in your style, or doing like, we're in October, so doing Inktober stuff. And sometimes it would take off and sometimes it wouldn't. So I don't know. At the end of the day, it seems kind of meaningless to try to chase the trend. I think for me, I'm just going to do what I like to do and just put out the stuff I want to make. And if people react to it well, then that's great. And if no one looks at it, well, I still made it for me and I still enjoyed putting it together. So I think right now that's where I'm falling. Of course, tomorrow I'll be like, I'll do anything it takes to get people to look at my book, But yeah, because you have to like doing it too. I think we run into a lot of burnout when we as creators are trying to do the things that we think we're supposed to do, but are making us miserable. So, if you hate being on a certain platform, if it's Facebook or Twitter or whatever, maybe you don't have to be there anymore if it's making you miserable and not serving you well anymore. So, especially at this point in where the internet is and where creativity is and where marketing is, I think at the end of the day, you just have to do the stuff that's clicking for you. And then, people will see that. And hopefully that helps you take off.
All right, cool. Marvin?
I'm just going to start arguments from now on social media.
Hey, that's my shtick. I'll argue with you right now.
We did that last time. No, yeah. I mean, I feel like that. I mean, if you're not going to start an argument, which I think it helps the algorithm to notice that you're there, is things that are interactive. So if you can get people interacting with something, or if they're sharing their stuff on your posts, and that's how you probably going to get much. But starting an argument seems to be the easiest way to get noticed on social media now. So JD and Grant, I will be starting arguments with you guys this coming week. Sorry.
That's nice. Fine. As long as you can accept your loss, it's okay.
Well, I don't care if I win or lose, as long as people are looking at the posts.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
A good argument rises all ships, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Sure. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, I'm everywhere I can possibly think of. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Reddit and everything. And really, the thing that I've seen the most return on, I know I've gotten some backers from it just because they've told me they found me on there is Reddit. Just trying to do anything weird, anything different. There's like 4 or 5 places that I post in Reddit, and I'm putting the same thing I'm putting out pretty much everywhere else. And I'm actually having conversations with guys, chatting with guys, and they're saying, how they like it or what they don't like about it, or like, especially with hospice, I've had a lot of people come back and saying, oh, I saw season 1, or I got season 1. That's awesome. They're coming back with it. And I'm having conversations about that. And I think I've seen the most from Reddit, though, honestly. It's a weird place to go sometimes for trying to put social media stuff out there with comics, but there are guys that want to talk more, it seems like, on there versus the Facebook groups or on X, things like that. So I've seen more TikTok views, but I don't think anything has really come from those TikTok views. They'll like it, they see it, they're scrolling past it, whatever, but they're not actually going to the Kickstarter page and clicking it or anything. So
what are the kinds of, are you going to like comic specific communities on Reddit, or like things that are tangentially related to the things you're writing, like particular horror boards or something like that?
So I should branch out to the just specific like type of thing, but it's all comic stuff. So like there's comic collab, there's indie comic books, there's indie comics, comic book art, comics in general. And sometimes like comics, the number 1 Reddit page, there's like 1,000 people that'll see it, but nobody comments on that one because they don't want to see that. They want to see Marvel DC. But I'm still putting it there just because you never know. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I haven't tried Reddit. That sounds interesting. Thanks for the advice. As far as where I get the most traction is probably from my newsletter. Just because, I mean, I know that there are spam filters on people's emails, but it feels like it's easier to get to people like that as opposed to, with social media where you have 1,000 different barriers between you and getting to your potential readers. But I also agreed with the opinion of be on as many of these things as you can, because variety is always good. I mean, the thing that I always say is, Coca-Cola doesn't care if you already know about its drink. They keep right on advertising. So never think to yourself like, okay, everybody already knows about everybody who's on my followers list already knows about my comic book. There are people who may not have seen the first 20 messages that you sent about it.
All right, cool. Randy, Tom, what are your thoughts?
I gave up on that a while ago, kind of like what I said when we talked earlier. So what I do is really a lot like what Melissa says. I just do what I feel like doing. And my thought process is simply, be engaging, entertaining, even if you are like, Marvin, and you need an argument to kind of kickstart that kind of stuff. I get tons of reactions from people whenever I tell them that a movie is a piece of shit. They come for me. And so, that spikes all of my engagement on everything, because they're like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? And then they want to see what else I, am posting too. So, that's for me, social media is that it's just I use it to me as it is supposed to be used. I posted about football today, posted about movies that I watch. I posted about the comics that are coming up. I posted about the turtle that I saved on the road. Like, I use it for the quote unquote way it's supposed to be used. And, people are either going to kind of track in on that or they're not, either way. The thing with being on all the platforms is that you have to understand that all the platforms work completely differently from each other. Facebook to Instagram to Twitter to TikTok, it all requires different posting. So if you're just like, I'm going to post Facebook and put it all on the other places, it's not going to work. I'm not saying it's not going to work at all, but there's a reason why each of these things is its own infrastructure and its own community. Same with Reddit. Like, if you go to Reddit is like a very, very specific community of all things, but every time you go into Reddit, it is its own, environment. So you have to know how it works and what to expect, how to use it. But yeah, for me, it's just I just go on so I can tell Marvin that Darkman's terrible. That's my whole. That's everything I need to do for Facebook.
Did you even watch it?
I watched the first one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Before we were supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, I know, but now it's too long ago and I don't remember it. So. But yeah, no, I don't really try and chase, like I don't do a lot of memes. Like a lot of people are big into the memes, right? They try and tie their stuff into memes. And I think there's some value to that if you're legitimately good at it, if you were legitimately sort of understand why that meme really actually connects to what you're doing. But there's too many people that are just making like Schwarzenegger things that say, get to my Kickstarter. Like nobody cares. That's moronic, right? But if you've got something that ties into a particular meme, a genre or whatever, then there's probably some value that you can get, creative with. But I don't really do a whole lot of that either. So it's just kind of whatever I feel like doing at any given time. I don't know that there's ever been something that I could point to say, well, that worked really well. Other than, and this has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It is, I guess, a little bit streaming into the void. We have done times at Comic-Cons where we've done panels, like Big Dog Ink panels. And we would basically go in and say, okay, when we're done, everybody come back with us to the table and we'll give you a free comic or whatever. So we'd get 20 or 30 people to wander back from the thing, not because necessarily they were fully engaged with us, but who doesn't want a free comic, right? So, so at minimum, even if they didn't buy anything at the table when they came back, they at least took it home, and then they hopefully would read it. There's all of our website and stuff on the inside, and who knows where it can go from there. But again, that's that direct contact, right? It's really hard to just be lost in the hundreds of millions of people on social media. But when you go to a Comic-Con and there's just two people wandering by your booth, that's that direct connection. Hey, you're wearing a Godzilla shirt. Guess what? I've got a kaiju book. Check this thing out. That's that easy one-on-one sort of grab.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. I'll tell you about the last two campaigns I did. The thing that was probably the most effective for me was my Substack. The way I tend to write my posts is I tend to write them and then somehow link them to my campaigns. So I write them, and then there's something in there where I tell some weird story about whatever it is I'm working on that campaign. And that, for some reason, got me some more engagement. I made a few more bucks on both campaigns that I normally make. So I thought, I was like, okay, that's interesting. But, is it like phenomenal? No, but it was a few more bucks. So I'll take it. So that's what worked for me. For these last two campaigns, we'll see how it works on the next two. So it's a work in progress. Randy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've kind of been sitting back on the whole marketing thing and just looking to see what everybody else is doing. I've done Facebook for years, but it's mostly goofy memes, and I haven't been trying to stir any pots. Put it that way, though I've been tempted too many times. You get that post already written up, and then you go, no, I don't think I'm gonna. You just remove it. What's the sense of even putting it out there? It's just going to attract too much vinegar, that kind of thing. I do that a lot, probably too much. But yeah, I'm really interested in everybody else. I know for the Atlantean, we do the newsletter, russleach.com. You can sign over there. Russ is really good about newsletters that are information based, that aren't bombarding people every couple of weeks or so. He might send a newsletter out once a month when he's in the middle of finishing up one of the books, just to let folks know where the campaigns are at, what's going on. That seems to really work good for us. And then we saturate the boards. And with the work, the book, the Atlantean book that we do, it's easy because it's like with the Oz book that Tom does. There is a niche market out there that's not necessarily comics that's interested in your work. So if you can tap into that, you can catch some extra money from that direction. But I know that there's a lot of real loyal Oz fans out there that just pick up whatever they can find on it. Same thing with the Robert E. Howard material. We were told we were, even though we didn't make an appearance on Howard Days down there at Cross Plains in Texas, the book was there. And the book was talked about quite a bit, which was really cool to hear and received real nicely, which is really, really good to hear. So I've spent the last year kind of overthinking the writing end of this, and really proud of what we've done with that book. So other than that, it's just keep chugging on, and like what Melissa said, do what you like doing, and see if anybody sees it. But yeah, I got to get out there under a few more platforms and be a little bit more visible. Maybe start some arguments. I don't know. We'll see.
Tom is always here. He's always willing to argue.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So here we go. Here's a question for you guys. What is a major task you're looking to accomplish before the end of this year? In Indie Comics, obviously. I don't need to hear about you repairing your garage.
It's been my whole summer. It seems like the whole house is in turmoil. Living room gets painted and it screws up the computer. But anyway, one thing after the next. It's just been a wacky summer.
Marvin, you're up.
I think that one of our goals is probably to try to tap back into distribution again, I guess. I mean, it's going to be a task to kind of narrow things down and then see who all the new players in the market are going to be, because there's going to be three more shooting in here pretty soon. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, really getting these Kickstarters funded, because we got 4 for Comicsburg right now. So we got to get these things done.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So before we move on, who are these 3 players that are coming in?
I can only tell you one. Universal, for sure. That's the only one I got for you right now.
Oh, okay.
I'll have some more for you because the Comics Pro open house is coming. So I'll know some more then.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Mr. Inside Information, not giving out the info.
October 23rd, 24th. I posted it into the Facebook group. So if anybody wants to sign up for it, you can.
Okay, Mister. Now he's promoting. See this guy.
Unfortunately, the invasion happens on the 21st. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's going to be at the end of the year, putting it together, and then we'll go live probably the first week of January is my first trade. So the Fog Within 1 through 4 is finally going to trade, which has been my goal since the beginning, is if I can make it to a trade, I can continue on. And I didn't think I'd be doing any other series as well. I'm doing 2 other series now in the middle of it. And it's been a wild ride, these 2.5, almost 3 years now. And I didn't really think I'd get past the first issue, really. And now we're at that trade, that final point. And January, the first week, that trade. That's been my goal, like I said, 2.5, 3 years almost. So I'm very proud of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So our goal right now is just finishing Memoirs of the Morbid. I'm really focused on that. I like to be completely done with these when I go on Kickstarter, and that wasn't possible this time. But I'm about 90% done. So I want to get that done before the end of the year and send it.
All right, cool. Melissa?
Oh, gosh. I think it's going to depend on how this campaign goes and how much of a laydown I'm going to need afterwards. But yeah, I think something that's been on my mind lately is that I've done a lot of the marketing and the promotion work a lot in the back half of this year, but I haven't actually been making comics. So I would like to shift my focus to actually working more on comics, which was the reason I got into this whole thing in the first place. And like I said, next year, I'm going to kind of make it the year of Black Ball, because that's my 1920s series. It takes place in 1926. So I'm going to try to tie into it being 2026. And the goal is to get that series completely done, get the last 2 issues out, and then I can put all my focus into Alchemist of Aurelia. And it'll be nice to just have a completed series under my belt and to do it up in a fun way, potentially with hats and costumes and party poppers. I don't know. We're gonna see how it shakes out. So some planning for that, and actually getting back to drawing and making comics, which is the part of it that I love the most.
All right. Cool. Randy?
Immediately, Atlantean 4, getting that done. That'll be out before the end of the year. It's got a couple new characters to introduce and a lot of fun to have on that. Then after that, the Anniverse collection is still next up on the plate. I've got a large T-shirt box filled with old fan art from up to 40 years ago with Anniverse characters in it. Susan's already finished a story for of the Varsals Vixens, and I think she's got a cover painted by now. I haven't talked to her in a couple weeks, but she should have that cover painted. We're looking at doing a 3-volume set at this point. The Anniverse stories in the first one, the Varsals Vixen stories that Sue did in the second one, and then a collection of fan art and scripts and all the little scraps from 40 years of doing and getting, this close this many time and getting Anniverse and its characters out there in front of people. So it's going to be a nice volume. The third book's going to have a celebrity artist on it that we're really looking forward to having, who volunteered to do a cover for us. So real happy about that. Ought to be a nice pull. It ought to be an interesting campaign. So then, more monkey business.
Nice.
That's it.
Have you been working on it?
Have I? I've been doing a lot more research. I'm looking at stretching it out, and maybe on the Spank the Monkey on the comic market, maybe even changing the format of the book.
Okay. To what? Like digest or?
Yeah, to a digest size.
Okay.
Might be more fun that way. I'm looking at. I'm a big nut for different formats anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the more odd, the better, and the easier to carry and look at, and the more fun it is. I've always wanted to do a paperback, the old size paperbacks.
Yeah.
Those aren't cheap to print anymore. So
no. Yeah.
Unless you're doing mass volumes of it. So we'll figure something out. There's all sorts of, we're tied in with Critical Blast, and they're tied in with Ingram, I believe, or whoever they get their printing from. They have a wide variety of different formats. That's why we really like doing the A4 album format for the Atlantean, because Russ is really a huge fan of Savage Sword of Conan. So anything that's the closest that we can get to that kind of product without going into mass printings and doing, a newsprint magazine that's saddle stitched. So having fun.
All right. Cool.
They said, yeah. Hopefully, we're looking at. We're also looking at doing all 3 as a box set, which would be really cool. So I'm a big fan of that as well. And there's so many stories that have been out there, and I got fan art from, like I said, 40 years worth of fan art out there that we can definitely fill a big volume of it with it, and even have the pictures 2 or 3 to a page at this point.
Damn. That's a big one.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Tom, what do you got?
Well, next year is the 15-year anniversary of The Legend of Oz. So we're going to be really heavy on Oz stuff next year with the series with Volume 7, doing a spin-off anthology for it. So that'll be kind of the primary of next year. But then in June, we'll have the Shark book, assuming everything goes well this time. Shark book will be our first ever graphic novel release, OGN. So we're not going to release issues. It's just going to be the whole 100 pages, one shot. So we'll be doing that in the summertime. And then in October, so with the BD 15 anthology this weekend, we're introducing our a new book that we call the Amityville Sorority Sisters. So it's basically a very sort of grindhouse Tarantino throwback 70s 80s type of horror story with the house. That'll be a 10-page introduction in this week's or this month's book. But then next year we're going to be doing the full book, and we're going to be doing it in like the what do you call that stuff? The distillery, like magazine size thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be kind of like a square and like 40 pages.
Yeah.
So that'll be what we're going to do next year with that, to kind of see, again, just like Randy was saying, do some different formats, do some different things that, you know, when you put them on the table, you get some visual variation, and then just kind of see how the fans react to it. And, you know, we can take that from there. And then in 27, we're going really big on the Critterverse. We're working on all of that right now. We're bringing Critter back again, volume 7, as well as spin-offs done by Lori Calcaterra, Pat Shan, CB Zane, and some other folks, so that we can really have like a full Critterverse, you know, run through the entire 2027, and really kind of put a hard focus on that. Yeah.
All right, cool. For myself, it's one of these things where it's like, you know, when Diamond went kablooey, so did a lot of my plans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trying to figure out, kind of similar to what Marvin's going through, which route I'm going to be taking in that direction, right? So I want to put out Oswald in color finally, and just seeing how I'm going to get into that direct market, whether it be, you know, do whatever various sources or however I got to do it. But it's one of those things, just finding out where the numbers are at. You know, is it viable, right? Yeah, and that's my big thing, you know. Oh, but also, well, that's for next year. But in the next 3 months, it's getting all these campaigns out, because I got 2 that I'm fulfilling this week, hopefully, and then I'll be launching 2 more probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then hopefully 1 more towards the end of the year, if not 2 more, because the train never stops. Yeah. So, yeah. Tom, you got a question?
Nope.
What the hell?
I've told you, man. I've got all the answers you need, but. You know.
All right. Well, you know what? I got a softball one. I've asked this question before. Who is your favorite indie comic book cover artist? Right? So, if you really want to preface it, who's the indie cover artist that you'd want to do a book, you know, do a cover for your book that maybe you haven't worked with? So you can try that. Well, I think we're up to Sean.
Oh man. What is his name? Hold on. I was about to look it up. Patrick, is it Burmeyer? I've never actually said his last name out loud. Granite State Punk's artist, which I've talked to him before. And he might be doing one for The Fog Within coming up next year, maybe. But yeah, that's the art style. It's different than what you normally see out there. So yeah, that's who I haven't talked to yet, or had to do a cover yet.
Cool. Grant.
We can't pick somebody who we've worked with before.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but you know, it'd be nice if you pick somebody you didn't work with before.
I mean, obviously, I mean, the guy that I really like is Daniel Mendoza, and that's, I mean, why I keep working with him. I'm trying to think of one that I really like who I haven't worked with. I guess the reason why is if there's somebody that I really like, I'll make it a point to work with them. So, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. All right, cool. Melissa, who would you like to get a cover from, if anyone? I know you're on art.
I have my own art. I guess a more confident version of myself. But you know, I've wanted for years to get Angela Odling to do a Black Ball cover for me, because she's told me in the past that she's really enjoyed the comic, and I think she's got a really cool art style. I think she would do something really fun for the series. It really, to get anyone, I tried to hire a variant cover artist who I didn't know once, and they ghosted me after I said, well, how much money do you want? Like, I will pay you your fair rate. And then that's when they left, and I'm like, no, I'm willing to give you money. You're supposed to leave if I don't give you money.
Right.
So it's made me a little sheepish to try again. For me, I want to work with people I know and my friends whose stuff I like. So yeah, I think if I could get Angela to do a Black Ball cover, that would be fun. But yeah, mostly I would also hope that I could make better covers too, since I'm the artist.
That's fair. Marvin.
I'll see Angela next week and pass her some information.
What?
I say I'll be at a con next week with Angela. Do you want me to pass her some information?
Oh yeah, tell her I say hi.
Okay.
We've talked before, but yeah, just tell her I'm coming for her.
I'll say Kanan White, because I've been like going back and forth with him for a while, and he's always been busy. So hopefully he'll be unbusy pretty soon. So then, yeah, I'll say Kanan.
That's cool. Randy.
It'd be really nice to get a Anniverse cover from Wendy Penny.
Well, that's true.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
If we're gonna dream big. Yeah.
True. Tom.
I've worked with so many indie guys, and I've been pretty good finding my own too. You know, Dan Mendoza, Bill McKay, Mike Crome, Eric Bassildua. I mean, I've worked with Ryan Otley. So there's a lot of guys that I've worked with. Brian Moroglio is one of the guys that I've wanted to get from, and I finally got that. He's going to be on our Penny for Your Soul campaign that'll be coming soon. Joyce Chin just did us a cover. There's a guy that he's I know his name, but I only know him from this one book because it's happening right now. And when I saw the art, I was like, Jesus Christ. It's the Spawn book, The Curse of Shirley Johnson. Jonathan Glapian, who I'm sure has done Marvel and DC stuff, but I'm just not aware of it. But when I looked at the art on that, I was just like, this is mind-blowingly unbelievable. And it's probably why the book is a bi-monthly book. Like automatically, they're like, this is a 2-month book, guys. It's going to take us a minute to make this thing. Because that stuff is just incredible. But a lot of the guys that I look at now, I'm looking at people that are sort of in that higher level. Like, you know, I want to get, I'd love to get Jorge Jimenez to do something. I'd love to get, obviously, Art Adams. I'd love to get to do something. So I'm kind of at a point where I'm reaching for the stars, like Randy was talking about. It's like I'm kind of like, okay, if we're gonna do this like Critter thing, like this is, I have 2 years, year and a half. If we're gonna do this Critter thing and we're gonna do like a real superhero universe, I want to like have the greats, modern and past, you know, represented in this stuff. Like I don't want to just be out here doing, you know, all the typical sort of like, you know, pinup covers and stuff. Like I want power artists to be doing the book if I can, covers for sure. And so I literally have a list right here. It's a very tiny list, but it's double-sided of like, I don't know, probably 60 dudes that I'm like, I need to talk to all of them so that we're ready for 2027. So.
Gotcha. All right, cool. My list is, I mean, I got 3 or 4 people. I'd have to look up a couple of names, but there's been one guy that I've been wanting to always get to do an Oswald cover, but I'm just like, parting with the cash is kind of the hard part, right? And as David Peterson, the mouse guard guy.
There you go. Yeah.
Great artist. You know, I mean, he's touchable, you know, which is cool. But you know, parting with the cash is the part that I'm like, okay, that's the part I'm wrestling with.
Yeah.
Another artist is Juanjo Guarnido, and he is the guy who draws Black Sad. And I would love to get a piece from him. but I don't even want to think what that would cost. Like I don't even want to think about it. Like just frightens me. I'm like, I was gonna be like $5,000 minimum, and I'm just like, it's just one of those things where it's just like
you got it. But for those things, man, those are level up moments.
Oh yeah,
right?
Of course.
Like if you can do it, not only do you do it, but you market the hell out of that thing. Like you make T-shirts and mugs and whatever image that is, you put it on 8,000 products, and you market that to the Black Sad community at the same time as you're marketing it just to the comic book community. You know what I mean? And forever you're now attached to that artist that you can say, I work with this guy, I work with this guy. I can say I work with J. Scott Campbell. I can say I work with Ryan Otley. Like there's a value to that, even if not directly to your audience, to you as your resume as you start to go through that glass ceiling.
Not just that, but it's worth your time to make the connection with the artist. You never know what he's going to charge or what they'll do for you, or he or she or the talent will do.
That is true. I have one friend.
That Anniverse cover for the collection came to me out of the blue. Passed each other on a show. Hey, I know you're doing great. Hey, you're going to collect Anniverse. I want to do a cover.
No, yeah, that's
okay.
Cool. I got a friend.
Know.
He works with a painter, and of course I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But they became fast friends, and he would quote him 1,000, 1,500, whatever. But what he would allow my friend to do is pay him like monthly $150.
That too. Yeah.
10 months, and and he would do the piece for him.
Yeah.
And the guy was always good for it. So so he's got like 3 or 4 covers from the guy. So
when I was doing the Flint Comics newspaper, we were hitting our 50th issue. Took George Perez out to dinner at a con. Hey, you want to do a cover? Okay.
There you go.
There you go. You never know until you ask.
This is true. Yeah. All right, everybody. Great job. We made it to hour 2. Thank you so much. You're all fantastic. And let's start with the last man in, Marvin. Where can we find you and your work, sir?
Hit me up on comicsburg.com and theedgecomic.com. You will see all the socials from there.
All right, cool. Sean?
So I'm everywhere that you can think of social-wise under Sean Wood _writer. I'm also on Substack. Still newer on there, but on Substack too. And then Hospice, The Scaled Key will be live in 2 days.
Nice. Grant?
I am also on comicsburg.com, and I'm on most of the social medias, pretty much all of them except for Twitter, because screw that. And I have a pretty distinct name, Grant Lankard. If you search Grant Lankard, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one.
All right, cool. Melissa?
Yeah, alchemistcomic.melissajmassey.com is the link to my Kickstarter, which is running till Friday the 10th. So make sure you jump on that if you're interested. But for the rest of the time, you can find me on Substack and Blue Sky and Facebook, Melissa J. Massey. I'm mostly on Substack. I post something every week, so come on down and join in the fun.
All right, cool. Randy?
The Atlantean 3 campaign is over. 1 and 2, though, are available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, criticalblast.com. We run our campaigns through fundmycomic.com, and we'll have the campaign for 4 over there within the next month or so. Plus, I do a podcast twice a week with the Indy Comics Network, where we just look at old comics and talk about stuff. Bunch of old farts talking comics, looking at great old comics. On Fridays, we're looking through on Fridays, we're looking through the Monster Bus right now, which is the old Jack Kirby Kaiju monster stories. But it's a great collection of great short stories there, all sorts of weird, large monsters. And then on Sunday, we're going through the Haunt of Fear, the classic EC series that everybody knows that really started the horror market pretty much for comics is right there, collected in hardback, shot in black, beautiful black and white. The Russ Cockrum reprints is what we're looking at, and it's just some phenomenal art by the best talent that they could find at the time in the times, and it's just a great series to go through. That Sunday Funnies 9 a.m. on Sundays Eastern time, and Comics by Night. We do it Fridays at 5 a.m. because we catch the guys in the UK that pop in and talk with us, Russ Leach and Glenn Fleming, at 5 a.m. on Fridays, Comics by Night. So if you can stop by, we're archived in Indie Comics Network, the Randy Zim YouTube channel, and the Comic Book Black Belt YouTube channel. So, and the majority of our hits are after we've recorded anyway, because we record at such odd times. But we've looked through some great old comics in the past, and just there's so much great stuff out there to look through that we'll never stop doing it. We'll stop doing it when we can't do it anymore. So it's just a lot of fun to do.
Cool. Tom.
BigDogInk.com. Get your back issues, trade paperbacks, whatever you're looking for. We'll be launching October 11th, the BD15 anthology, noon Eastern time. It'll run for 3 weeks, and then, like I said, right at the end, I think that Sunday or Monday before Halloween, Dren Publications is launching Plan 39 from Outer Space, which I wrote and art directed. So we'll have a couple of overlapping campaigns running at the end of the month.
All right, cool. And you can find me on the OswaldChronicle.com, TallTalesOnline.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, all those different places. Most Sunday nights here, at 7:30 p.m. But next weekend, I'm taking a break. I'm going to take the weekend off. We will be back on the 19th.
Break? What's up with that? What?
Yeah,
you can pre-record these shows if you need to,
Yeah, I know, but I don't need to. So, yes. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And please check out the show notes, because in those show notes is everybody's links. So go check out those links. Click on those books. All these creators are doing fantastic work. They're all doing great books. So please click on those links. Pick up some books. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.